Welcome to part 2 of our video of going through chart settings on TradingView and what each of these menu items mean and how to use them. So if you didn't watch part 1, it's in our profile TradingView on YouTube, and it's a relatively long watch, but it will show you how essentially right click, then go to settings, how you can use all of these options available to you to create a beautiful chart and one that fits your needs. Now I went through symbol. This icon here should tell you everything you need to know. Symbol is how you control the look and feel of your symbol on the chart. For example, customizing the line color or the bar colors. And see how fast we just made a chart that's now orange and black. And you can just hide or unhide things. Even if you wanted to create a chart that's entirely empty like that, you could. And now let's quickly make sure we return this chart to its normal state. And then, of course, the status line. The status line is this area up here, and it's how you control the look and feel of your chart and what you're reading. So watch this region in the top left, and you see how things begin to appear and disappear in the top left. And it's as simple as checking and unchecking a box until you create a chart that fits your needs. In this example, we're showing the symbol, its description, so we know we're looking at the US dollar, Japanese yen, and our indicator, so our indicator title is showing moving average, and arguments, so it's a moving average of 9 based on the close. We did scales, and remember what scales refers to is the price region here. So this is our price region. By the way, if you hover your mouse over, click and hold, you can drag and adjust your scales. And this is where you can control what's shown on your price scales or your time scales. So if you look closely, we have our symbol name. So we've checked this box for symbol name. We have our symbol last price label. Check this box, and you can see that now the price is not showing, but let's show it. We also have high and low price labels. Here's the high, see that? And here's the low. So we're watching our price with the high and low immediately in mind. Then we have our indicator name label. Remember, we showed you up here, moving average 9. The moving average is orange. As you can see, this orange line, and so we see moving average. We're also going to show our moving average last value. So here's our last value of the moving average. And we ended the video going over countdown to bar close, which effectively tells you how much time is left until the next bar begins. For example, 4 days and 6 hours. But watch what happens when we go from a weekly chart, because there's 4 days left. This video is recorded on a Monday. When we go to an hour, and let's do auto here to readjust. There's 31 minutes left in this 1 hour chart. So there's 31 minutes left in this candle. Okay, let's continue to move on now to appearance. This is a big one. This is why we are doing part 2, because we want to spend a lot of time on appearance. If in part 1 we focused on symbol, status line, scales, appearance is how you change the color of your chart, the look and feel. There are so many options available to you. We're going to go through all of it in great detail. Background currently is set to solid. Background is really easy to understand. Watch how fast the chart changes. That's your background. You are changing the background of your chart, and check out how much fun you can have. It is a rainbow of colors. It is an assortment. If you have a brand that you need to create a specific color for, if you are looking to create charts that are unique to you and different from what anyone else is doing, you can do that right here as well. So why don't we, for the time being, keep this at this light shade of yellow. Now, this drop down does say solid. If we click and then select gradient, now what we can do is mash 2 colors together. And rather than us talking about what this means, just watch the chart change as we select 2 colors. We select yellow and we select blue. We are mashing 2 colors together to create a gradient. So if you really want to create a chart that no one else is using, well, this is one way to do that. You can mash 2 colors together, gives you more combinations and more options so that you can create a chart that really is, as we were saying, it fits your brand, or even better, it's unique to you. It helps you make better decisions because it's what you want to look at. It's visually pleasing. So settings, appearance. Appearance is so important. We are controlling the background, the look and feel of our chart from here. And right now we have a gradient selected. We're mashing these two colors together to create this chart. Next up, vert grid lines, horizontal grid lines. What does this mean? Well, if you look really closely, as you can see, we zoom in, you can see the grid lines going up and down and then left and right. It's these light gray grid lines. Rather than us say anymore, why don't we just show you these grid lines by changing their opacity to 100% so that you literally cannot miss them. Here is your grid lines. We're in log. Let's remove this from log. So now you see the grid lines. You cannot miss them. Your vertical grid lines are the grid lines going up and down. Your horizontal grid lines are the grid lines going left and right. And why don't we really show this by changing our horizontal grid lines to blue and our vertical grid lines to, let's change these to purple. So now you really can't miss that. Up and down is purple, left and right is blue. And the options here are really up to you. And opacity refers to how easy the charts are to see and how much they blend in on the chart. 100% means they are at max, they are showing themselves completely. 0% means they are totally hidden and you can't see them. So see how now our lines going up and down have been removed? Well, that's because our opacity is at 0%. Well, let's change this back to 100% just because we want to make it very clear that these are the vertical grid lines and horizontal grid lines. And if you are creating a chart that's unique to you, understanding these is important. Now, obviously, this chart is not very visually pleasing. And for the sake of this video, we want to keep this chart simple. So you know what? We are actually going to hide our grid lines completely. That's right. We're going to hide them completely so we can just focus on price with our custom gradient. And we're going to settle on this gradient right now because to us, it's warm, it's easy to see, and that's just the style we're going to go for in this video. Session breaks. So what does session breaks mean? Well, session breaks refer to when a symbol is, changing a session, or when the market is closed, or for example, when the next day of trading begins. And so these dotted lines show you the session breaks, or when the next session is beginning. We're on a 1 hour chart, so it's evenly spaced for each session. Right click and you can customize your session breaks. So however you want it. This is now obviously a little too bold, but you can change the line thickness and once again the opacity if you want them just barely visible or totally visible. For now, we're going to keep our session breaks off, but session breaks are important if you trade currencies or different time zones or futures, and you want to make sure you always see where or when the new session begins. Okay, we've made it just a few ways down the appearance options that are available to you. Let's keep going because this is the key to creating a layout that fits your needs. Scales text. Remember, appearance, whenever you see scales, the word scales, so for example in this menu, when you see scales, scales always refers to the price scale here that we're dragging and moving, or the time scale down here that we're also now dragging and moving. So you can change the scales text to make it easier, or just maybe you want to make it blend in more with the chart. Watch what happens when we, for example, change our scales to red. The text is now red, so we can change the font of our scales. Let's go back to black and let's actually make the numbers bigger. So because this is a video that we're recording, we know it might have been hard to see these numbers. So yes, we finally did it. We changed the font to size 16 and now you cannot miss what's going on here. The scale lines, that is going to refer to the lines here going, separating the scales from the chart. So this light gray line here, the light gray line here, and why don't we just change the color to something dramatic to really show you what this refers to. We now have changed the scales lines to purple. They could be red, they could be orange, yellow, and by the way, you can actually add a custom color by clicking this plus icon and typing in your color code or moving the wheel around to find the color of your needs. Also very important if you want to use a custom colorway specifically for your brand or concept or just the way you like to look at charts. For this scale lines, why don't we actually just keep them for now at a light gray and not make them too harsh on the eye and have them at an opacity of 60%. That's perfect. Crosshair. Now, crosshair, what does this mean? Well, let's exit out of chart settings. So at the top right of your chart, you actually have the option to change what you want your mouse to look like on your chart. So we just selected the standard mouse icon. But if you click dot, now we have a dot icon. And then, of course, we can't have a crosshair icon. And if you also pay close attention, following our mouse around is a crosshair. You can see that these lines are following us wherever we go. Well, that is for precision, so we can always see time and price, right? We can just move our mouse down and see this. We can then move our mouse to the right and see this, and so it's a crosshair. We go to settings, and we're in appearance, and we can actually change the look of that crosshair. So now what we're going to do now is basically make this crosshair, we're going to make this crosshair this turquoise color and effectively make it a line. And our goal now is to make it so you can't miss. So we just changed those crosshairs. Look at that. Now you cannot miss what we're talking about. So you can change the crosshairs that follow your mouse around. For the time being though, because we don't want this to be too noisy, why don't we revert to something that's just, easy on the eyes, not too noisy. We'll go to a light gray again, and that's good for us. Perfect. We can see our crosshairs where we're lined up. Let's keep that. Next up is watermark. So we checked this box here, and the watermark is essentially the way you can see what symbol you're looking at, and it's can be as bold as you want or as hidden as you want. So you probably understand now what we did there is we're showing the watermark, and watch what happens as we switch between charts. The watermark is always following us around. See that? Pretty cool. So if you take screenshots of your charts or share them on social media and you don't want someone to miss what you're charting, it's really that easy. And why don't we just do one more example, and why don't we head over to a futures contract just to show you what that looks like as well. And so we go to settings, appearance, and remember what we said. We made our watermark very bold, but you can make your watermark, slightly different and something that fits your needs. And you can change the colors to blend in with your chart, and then the opacity will hide it or show it in full. And so why don't we do a light gray for now so you just cannot miss it, and check it out. That's what we've just created. We are building this chart with you, and it is coming along nicely. Navigation buttons, always visible or visible on mouse over or always invisible. You can do this for your pane buttons as well. So what you're doing is you're just sort of, you're hiding or choosing to show the buttons on your chart based on your needs. So you can actually make them so you hover your mouse over them and they show, or always invisible. And it's totally up to you on how you want that to look and feel. Let's keep them always visible for now. Top margins. Now you can change the margins of your appearance. And the margin percentages, say we did 100%. As you can see, we've added margin to the charts. It looks like 25% actually we were maxed out at, but you're just creating a margin. A lot like if you were creating a Word doc. When you add margins to a Word doc, it's the space between the top and then the first few words, and you can do that same thing. And margins will just, once again, help you create a chart that fits your needs. And as you see how the chart's changing, it's because the margins are adapting to our needs. And now that we have 5% margins, whenever we zoom out, those margins follow us. But of course, you can always click this auto button to quickly readjust your chart. Let's go back to settings now, and that is appearance, right margin, so you can also show it for your bars. So default is 10, but this can be whatever you want. So say it's 50, you see how that changed the margin here. But let's go back to 10 because that is the default. And unless you're really looking for a specific layout, these margins are just a way of precisely creating the layout of your need. If you have multiple monitors, vertical monitors, one giant long monitor, you can use these margins to really take advantage of those monitors. Okay, so we hope that helped. We've now gone through symbol. Remember, symbol is the price line here that you see, this symbol on the chart. Status line is this region up here. Scales are your time and price scales. So time is down here that we're moving and dragging. Price is over here to the right that we are moving and dragging. Then we went through appearance. Appearance is how we created this background, changed the colors, and just made the chart visually pleasing to us. That's how we created this chart right here. By the way, when you create charts, this is so important. And if you've made it this far in the video, you're going to love this tip. You can save your chart right here. Watch what happens when we click. Our chart is now saved. And if we click this drop down, we have auto save on. We can rename it, make a copy, new chart layout, or load a chart layout. Never lose this chart layout. Okay, let's go to settings, and why don't we wrap up here and finish the last view of the chart settings menu. Thank you for watching, by the way. This is part 2. Part 1 is on our YouTube account. So we are now moving down from appearance to trading. Trading is just like it sounds. Trading is related to everything you do if you are paper trading or using a connected broker. So to get started with this, we're going to open up our paper trading account. By the way, if you don't know how to do this, let's log out. So go to your trading panel at the bottom of your chart. And then, of course, there's paper trading, Tradevate. You can pick any of these brokers, but let's do paper trading for this example. Follow the instructions, connect. And now we are here in our paper trading account. You can change the size and feel of this paper trading account. Okay, let's go to our settings. And so our trading is basically going to control the customizations of our chart. So remember, this is our order panel. So we click this now, and if we wanted to place, just say a market order, let's just buy one. This is a paper trading account, no risk. We're just going to show you how it looks. We click buy. Here it is, orders executed, placed. So what we're doing now is we're controlling all of our trading and how it's shown on the chart. So to really make this happen, by the way, we're going to uncheck and hide everything else that's happening on this chart, and we are just going to focus on trading. Reminder, you see how easy it is to hide things. You just uncheck a box. So trading, we have show positions. See what happens there? We have show positions. When we click, remember, we just bought one share. Check it out. Why don't we just buy another 10? Watch how this updates. Paper trading, this is just an example, just education. We click buy, and now as you can see, it shows we have 11, and we aren't doing so well. It looks like we're down. And that's how you do that, is you can show your positions live on the chart. Show orders. So if you want to see your orders on the chart, you can also choose to hide or show that. And a great example of this is why don't we place a limit at 3,500. So what we're doing now is we're placing a limit order. Why don't we add a take profit target and a stop loss? And why don't we make our profit, let's aim for 5%. And our stop loss, let's just say 2%. And now let's click buy. And now as you can see, what we've done here is we have added our trade to the chart. And what we're doing is we've added, let's see if we can move these scales. There we are. So now we can see our full trade on the chart. We see our buy limit here at 3,500. Remember, we added that. Our take profit here, remember we said 5%. Well, this would be 5%. And our stop loss 2%. That takes us down to there. So you go to settings and trading, and we can show this on the chart. Show positions, see that, hides it. Show orders, hides it. So we place that limit order, and you can choose to hide or show that on the chart. Let's keep that for now. Your connecting line, that are all of these dotted lines, which you can quickly change to, solid or dotted or dashed, and you can see them running through the chart. Actually, for now, why don't we have them be solid lines so we just cannot miss each of these levels? Extend lines left. Well, this is important because let's say you place an order. Why don't we clean this up a little? Let's see how we can make this visible for you. Well, let's say you place an order. See, this is our buy limit, and we want to see where that line extends to. Well, we check this box, and now look at this. Our lines extend all the way across the chart. We cannot miss this now. We know our buy limit and where it extends to in prior price history, where our stop loss is and where it extends to in prior price history. Same with our take profit. So you can go to your chart settings, and that is an extend lines left. See them all disappear here. Extend lines left. So whenever you see extend lines left to right, because this is true for indicators as well, if you check the box, it will extend them across the chart. Show executions. Well, this is pretty cool, and this shows you where your trade was executed at. So see these blue arrows? Those are our executions. They disappear. They show. And if you go to a more granular chart, a lower time frame like 5 minutes, you can really see the executions here. Look at those arrows. Those are our executions. And let's go back out to the 1 hour chart so that we can see our full trade, and we'll change the scale, and there it is. There's our trade. Okay, back to settings. So we've gone through show positions, show orders, the lines, extending them left, showing executions, which we will keep on, playing a sound. That's as simple as it sounds. When you place an order, say we buy one more, there is a sound that occurs, and you can choose to play that sound or not. Instant orders placement is just depending on how fast you want the orders to go through and where you want to see them. Show rejection notifications only. You can choose to see your rejection notifications or not. Show the buy or sell buttons. Now, this is something that you will find interesting if you are paper trading or using a connected brokerage. You select show buy sell buttons, and as you can see, these buttons here at the top right, you cannot miss them. This is one way you can trade from the chart. And done, just like that. Done, just like that. And you can change the quantity right here in this quantity field. Say you want to do 25, custom numbers for quick trading. And as you see, we're executing. We just bought 30, sold 30. Remember, this is paper trading. We aren't actually trying to show any recommendation or anything. We're just showing you how fast and easy this is to use, and then how much fun you can have with it. You see that? You can just start to see the orders come through, buying and selling, and it's just as fast as that, and it all shows beautifully on your chart, so you can't miss what you're doing at market, order placed, executed. Fantastic. So let's go to settings, and then of course show zero trade volume prices in the DOM. Now the DOM is your depth of market, and your depth of market is this button here, and it's showing you a live tape of trades happening. In this case, we're looking at S&P 500 E-mini futures, and we're just watching the depth of market right now, and this will control how your depth of market appears both here and on your chart, and it's just as simple as checking a box or unchecking a box. And by the way, this is important. If you are trading from your paper trading account, you can use the depth of market right here. It is underneath your order panel. So here's our order panel. As we've shown you, this is where you can place trades, limits and stops and market orders. And then below it is your depth of market. And you can also place trades right from the depth of market panel. Say we sell 530 contracts at market. They execute, and this is just paper trading. But the point is, pretty cool how you can do this. And you have some other options here for those who rely on the depth of market. You can get more advanced with your needs. Okay, let's wrap up. Go back to settings. So we've done our symbol, our status line, our scales, our appearance, our trading, and we're going to end on events. Now, to really see events and how they work, we need to go to a stock in this example, and we are talking about, we're going to actually hide all of this, put this down here, how you know upcoming events. So one quick tip before we dive into this, check out our mouse here. It's hovering over this icon of a calendar. Well, when we click that, this is our calendar icon. It's all the events happening in the world. Big economic events, earnings. So what companies are reporting earnings? How can that move their share price? It's all right here. Click the calendar icon to get started. By the way, you can make some customizations to your filters. So if you want to look at specific countries, you can click this globe icon to get started. And now let's hide this and let's go back to the chart settings. So events, this is how you see specific events. Show dividends. So see this D, that's dividends. Check it out. Want to see this hide or appear? Check, gone. Check, it's there. These are dividends. How much money did the company pay out in dividends on that day? Usually companies pay out dividends quarterly. As you can see, they paid out, looks like about 20 cents. There's the date. We can hide or show that. Show splits. So if a company splits its stock, you can see that exact date and you know the number. This was a 4-for-1 split on August 31st. Check it out. Uncheck, the S is gone. Check, it's there, a stock split. One company that recently did a stock split, for example, was Tesla. And here is, see the S here? This is your stock split, 5-for-1. You can show that or not. Show earnings, super important. Anyone who follows stocks on TradingView should know this because earnings can move a stock in a rapid manner. So if we click this icon, we see everything about the last earnings report. Its EPS, its estimate, the surprise, the date, and the period ending. This data field shows you what you need to know. And if you check this box, it disappears. So let's say you are looking at a chart on a long-term time frame. So let's go to a monthly chart. And we're going to have to go back to the most recent day of trading. So give us a second as we scroll through. By the way, we are just clicking and dragging our mouse. So here's a monthly chart. Well, what you may notice on this chart is if we right click and go to settings, hit show earnings. So now we're showing earnings splits and dividends. And it can be somewhat hard to follow. So if you right click, go to settings, in your events, you can hide all this because say you just want to focus on price and nothing else, or maybe you just want to see splits, you can see the splits there. Okay, we'll go back to a stock like Apple that also pays a dividend. As an example, you can start to see how hard it can get to manage all of these icons. So you go to settings, and why don't we, in this example, why don't we hide dividends and splits and just keep earnings because of the way they sometimes move a stock. You can also add earnings breaks because earnings are such a big, important time for a company. By checking this box, you see these lines that tell you when they reported earnings. Now, we just made that really bold and obvious to see. Usually, you wouldn't want a chart like this because it's just hard to see what's happening. But the point is you can study price and earnings in real time on your chart by adding these earnings breaks. You know what? We're going to keep them up for now, and we're going to do dotted and just a light earnings break on the chart. Show economic events. This is a cool one, especially for those who maybe trade Forex or follow currency pairs. Well, the point here, and let's actually go to maybe just a 3-hour chart in this example. The point here is sometimes a big economic event can change the direction of a country's currency. It really can. It shows strength or it shows future development of the underlying economy. And so what you can do if you right click, go to settings in events, you can show your economic events and look at our economic events. When we hover our mouse, there's 8 events on this day. We click the icon, and how cool is this? We see every economic event that's occurring. And it even shows us the flag so we know which country or region. And you can do show only future events. Or if you uncheck that box, you can also see past economic events. So why would you check this box to only see future events? Well, you may be thinking, okay, all past data no longer is that important to me. I want to keep the chart clean and only be aware of what's coming in the future. You can do that. So you go to settings and you do show only future events or not. If you want to view all economic events, make sure this box is unchecked. So remember, show only future will hide anything that happened before the latest candle, and only in the future. If you uncheck it, you'll just see them all. And then, of course, events breaks, just like the earnings breaks. It's how you change the color line if you want it to stand out or not. You see how It's matching up the line with the event, and it's just that easy to your needs. We are not going to have this. We're going to uncheck it to hide it. And there we have it. We have now created our chart managing everything in the chart settings. So this is part 2. And now remember, one last final walkthrough. Symbol. Well, let's actually get back here and just start from scratch. You can do everything to your chart that you need, whether it is changing the background, the candles, the price line, by right-clicking, going to settings, and then getting started with this menu. And the quickest way to get started is to simply start experimenting. Remember, symbol. This is going to change the symbol on your chart. Its look and feel, the line, the candles, how it's presented, the body. You can choose to hide everything, hide something, show just what you need to see. Status line, that is this region up here. Adjust all the settings in this area. Scales, this is your time and price scales. See our mouse dragging them, and here's our price. And you can adjust these regions. As you see, we're adding things back to the region here, and you can just quickly see what's happening. And it's really that easy. Appearance is the background. Remember, this is our gradient chart or our solid chart, and it's how you change the color, the vertical and horizontal grid lines, and just get started in general with your chart's unique feel that fits your needs. Trading, this is for live trading. It's how you place trades on the chart, and it's how you see them here on your chart instantly appear, and you can control how that looks and feels. And then of course we end on events, and that's dividends, splits, economic events happening around the world, and you can choose to show them however you need. Thank you for watching this video. We hope you enjoyed part 1 and now part 2. See everyone soon. Please ask questions in the comments below.